are now reacting to BTS's Suga and his interlude track to BTS's 2020 Map of the Soul 7 album. Map of the Soul 7 continues the exploration of the Jungian psychology that began with BTS's Map of the Soul Persona album. While Persona discussed the face we show to the world, Map of the Soul 7 explores the shadow, the dark side of our personalities, the parts of ourselves we want to keep hidden. The song opens with the hopes he had when he was young and when he first debuted, of being a rap star and being on the top of the charts. He shares that as his fame grew, so did his shadow. The brighter the light that shone on him, the stronger the shadow became. He struggled with the fame and the way it changed him as a person. This is also a struggle between his two personas. When does his stage name Suga end and his birth name Min Yoongi begin? What part does he get to keep to himself? And the song ends with Suga saying, "I am you and you are me."
Why is everything so deep? Did you pick out?
Okay, this is actually...
Suggesting that he is learning to accept the dichotomy of the persona and the shadow, Suga and Min Yoongi.
That's really heavy. You know, you got Freud, you got Sigmund Freud, but Carl Jung is this like ecstatically creative psychologist who his work is just mind-blowingly incredible. It takes from so many different regions of the world. These guys, I'm expecting musically we're going to kind of see a differentiation between the outer and the inner world of that idealism. And I think that knowing that this is like kind of based off of Carl Jung, this will be interesting to be listening for psychological concepts in their music. But whoa, freaking crazy. That's fire. I'm very excited now.
I'm curious about how they're going to do that.
Yeah.
It seems like part of the shadow is their performing persona versus their outside of the performing world, like who they feel like they are with their friends or just. And it kind of reminds me of, there was a quote with St. Vincent. Then in an interview, she was asked, where does St. Vincent end and you begin?
And
she was
Clark
like,
begin.
Annie Clark begin. And she was like, oh, you have to ask St. Vincent.
Oh,
or something like that. And it's like,
that's good.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's like you can be different people. It's kind of cool.
Isn't he in a Max song?
Yes.
That song's so good. So good. Anyway, sorry. Got a little distracted. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Me too. Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, love that intro.
Big hit.
Big hit.
Oh.
Ooh, the shadows.
I wanna be rapped.
Oh.
I wanna be the top. I wanna be a rockstar. I want it on my.
That was surprisingly deep.
I wanna be rich.
Wow, I did not expect his voice to be low. The timbre.
I wanna be rapped. I wanna be the top. I wanna be a rockstar. I want it on mine. I wanna be rich. I wanna be the king. I wanna be me. I wanna pick thing more boy. Let me see. I got a big dream. Yeah. Ooh, man, it's hard to 내가 어디까지 가지.
Good job.
Some Polanski imagery right there.
I love all these extended harmonies. Like you hear so many nines on every single chord. It's pretty cool.
Wow. The momentum that he's able to get on this song is nuts.
Oh, there's like kind of harmonies behind him as he's going.
Whoa, the people falling. That's really great.
Wow.
Great guitar. Good guitar usage.
I wanna be the top. I wanna be a rockstar. I want it on mine. I wanna be rich. I wanna be the king. I wanna go win. I wanna be left. I wanna be the top.
Yeah, sonically now it's a different person. Now it's into a different area of the collective consciousness.
What?
Oh my god.
I think its delivery is really solid, especially in this section. Oh, hello. Hello. Okay, the distortion here is pretty awesome. This is pretty great.
Oh my god.
Hey, it's Persona. They reference the
got the
freaking
Persona.
the screen cracked.
Nice.
Yeah, this is pretty socially profound.
That's how it ends?
Wow. That's crazy.
So there is a Swedish film called Persona by Ingmar Bergman, and when I was screaming, there's a reference to the... Yeah, halfway through that film, the screen cracks in half and things go crazy. So, highly recommend it, though you probably need some caffeine, because it's the slowest 1.5 hour long film ever, if you're not into it. Depends on you.
Okay, thoughts on this song and how the music and video represented what he was talking about?
I just think that there were shots in that video that said so much. There was a scene where all of them were at his concert. I assume it's his concert, where it's all these people like dressed up in like black clothing and to give sort of like this idea of anonymity. And he was also in the crowd. So sort of like really isolating those two sides of him and how sort of the media and the paparazzi see this one side of him and how like those two sides are kind of like bleeding into each other. I think that's really, that's just like, how do you come up with a shot like that? Like, that's really cool.
I think it was interesting because like we've listened to other rap songs obviously, and it's usually more of like here, feel this flow, now feel this, now feel this. And this was more like sections where it's like, I'm going to do this rhythm for a section, and I'm going to do this rhythm for a section, and then we'll do this one, instead of like intertwining and being like, we'll do eighths and then into triplets and then back to A16ths, triplets, like kind of where it like makes you
showing
feel,
everything I got all at once, you know?
Yeah, and like it's because it's really hard to go in between all of those things, but it's also cool to have them like where they have their each like standalone section.
Closer to the beginning, like moving towards the middle, there was moments when the rap was really speeding up, and the text there is about being like swallowed into it, and that it's exactly what his voice did. I mean, it was just continual flooding of thought, and which is like, it's funny because you were like, how do you come up with that? But that's like authentic inspiration. Like it's when it's your life and you're talking about it. Like, I mean, it's very vulnerable. This is very vulnerable work.
I loved the shot of him being on the stage and having a million phones and cameras being up to him. I think him being constantly like watched under critique, just being always a point of focus for other people. So everything he does, even as not as an artist and as not an artist, is like he was afraid of that attention and afraid to like show himself.
I thought it was amazing. I thought it delivered on all the fronts, except for that first, I'd call it a chorus, but the song doesn't really follow that structure.
Is when he starts singing?
Yeah, when he starts singing. I think they're trying to do the stadium effect with some electric guitar and stuff. I think if they had a little more reverb, if there was some more boomy, something that felt more stadium-y with some of that live sound. I know it's not a really live sound, but there's a way a producer can manipulate that. A recording engineer, and I think that would have made it more effective. But then once like the distorted stuff came in and his rap voice became distorted, I thought that was all really good. Yeah, the video is super powerful. I think I really like the way there's the hands and the shadow people pressing him down, but then immediately that is spliced with sort of like him standing on this translucent surface and the shadow people falling. And so I'm suddenly questioning, where is gravity and where are the shadow people falling to? And I think that's sort of like the personal struggle with like, sometimes the shadows are pressing me down. Sometimes I'm able to stand above them and it feels like they are falling into oblivion, but they still come back sometimes. So I think there's some really powerful stuff there. And the lyrics, yeah, the whole I want to be rich thing, the first time you hear it, and if you don't pay attention to the rest of the lyrics, it may sound a little egotistical, but I think it's intentionally so. And it actually reminds me of the way Kendrick Lamar kind of writes his rap songs, because especially in the album Good Kid, Mad City, he would do these braggadocious things, but he would actually mean the opposite. He would make a song about drinking and how you should just jump into a pool of liquor, but actually, the song is about how that's a dangerous have it. And so here he's saying all these things, and he's saying it with so much conviction, but with the rest of the song and the context, you know that there's a dark side to that. I think by putting it out like that, just saying it, putting it so simply, yeah, I definitely can connect with that. There's a part of me that just understands, especially when he repeats it the second time. I'm like, oh, I know where he is now. Yeah.
I could talk for days about like, what is ambition? Like, that's so interesting that he starts out being like, I want to be a rock star. Because I don't really relate to that. Like, maybe I did when I was a kid. I don't remember. Because it's like, you remember playing Pokemon when you're a kid and they're like, be the very best. And you're like, I want to be the very best. And now I'm like in music school and I'm like, I don't want to be the best. I just want to be like, okay, like I don't want to make big waves, but I want to be happy.
I mean, I've always wanted to like be the best, or just I've always wanted to do music, and then there's really like a dark side. Like there's a lot of depression that happens when you sit in a practice room for 6 to like 10 hours a day practicing by yourself, performing with people
It's so
you don't
lonely
really
at
know.
the
Yeah.
top. When he said that, I was like,
That's true. Like in order to be the best, you have to be by yourself and really work out everything yourself, and analyzing yourself for like multiple hours a day isn't good for your mental health. That's the tea.
So musically, his departures from like completely new rhythm and melody shift to the different sections in the song, super cool, really nice jarring effect. Criticism musically, I don't like the words, I want to be a rock star, I want to be blank, I want to be blank. I feel like you can write that same message with more nuance in your language.
I thought it was interesting that every once in a while I had, I want to be ... It was like as almost if all of these things that he has been doing as a member of BTS and in the spotlight consistently for so long now has almost made him lose who the heck am I really? What do I actually want in life? What do I actually want to be? Because everything has just kind of been this roller coaster.
Be me.
Oh my God.
That's so interesting.
There was a lot of depth to that.
I was there for like a lot of the beginning stages of BTS. This was before they had this like whole like invasion in America. And it's so interesting listening to this song and how eerie this song is now, because back then they used to produce songs where it was all about like, if I ruled the world, like this would happen, I want like big cars. They were talking about like a lot of materialistic things that they wanted, and they were really dreaming about becoming big. And like now that they've become like so big, and like listening to this, it really, I hope it gives the message to everyone that like they're human. You know, they go through times of darkness and like uncertainty, which was portrayed very well in this song when things went downhill. I don't know where 210, where everything just like spiraled downhill, and then with that ending, it wasn't like a complete ending.
The fact that the background was pretty much just a bass line, that gave him the opportunity to really play with the momentum and to really get that distortion and glitchy like sound, and to really play with that and to almost like toy with our expectations of what the song is, where the song's gonna go. So I think that's really cool.
I don't believe his voice is that low.
It is.
I feel like they like auto-tuned it lower.
It's just because his face is so like flawless, and like it just makes me think that he's so young, and it's like my voice is down here.
That's him. I've heard him in person.
You're like,
Girl, I promise.
I was there.
Like, it was one of his other raps.
And then when he goes to rap, it's higher. That's why I was like, no.
I wish my voice could go that low.
Yeah.
I'm a little jealous.
He's got versatility. He's got range.
And then when he was like rapping, I felt like they were kind of like harmonizing. Like I felt like there was some type of like background harmonization with it, which is what I really enjoyed. I feel like the basis of this piece was more like a poem. Like it was more like written word is what I want to say. But like I don't speak Korean, so I didn't know what he was saying.
Spoken word. It's fine.
Spoken word.
Yeah, so he goes through the actual map of the soul. Okay, yeah, so you can see here. Yeah, so that like infinity, that like circle, well, here's the map of the soul by Carl Jung. So this kind of infinity sign, and this is the concept, it's the outer world persona, ego, self, shadow, and inner world animus. So like, it seems like kind of what they're portraying visually. This song, it starts out with kind of, you know, the social norms of like what we are told we want. We want to be a rock star, we want to be pop stars, we want to be famous, we want money. And it's simplistic sonically, and you're kind of having this bass that's going up a bit and then going down to super simple, and then the mirror, there's a lot of mirror work going on. What ends up happening is when he gets on stage, you see he starts talking about, this is when he gets down more deeper into his own self, where he's talking about like he's afraid. Nobody told him it was this crazy and this difficult to be this famous and this like high up. He came to his senses to find himself as high as he is, but as low as he is. So it's that dichotomy. It's the juxtaposition of how famous he is, but how low he feels and sad he feels about specific things about within himself. And then what ends up happening is there's this sonic shift where you have this really heavy, just grained out like 808 kind of bass going on, and you have these really wacky synth sounds that are almost like personifying evil and the concept within the self that drives for fame, that drives for specific lust or desire. And it seems like that is kind of like he's letting that, it's part of him, and it's this kind of battle that he's having within himself. When he comes back and the lights are red and things are around him, he's saying, I want to be king. I am you, you are me, we are the same person. Very poetic and very psychologically invoking. Yeah, so it seems by at the end he's kind of succumbed to this darker inner self that's getting him like through. And it's sad because then it ends abruptly kind of with people taking photos and pictures, and he's just in the center of it all. And the thing is that he's a normal human being, because all of us go through this in our own storylines and in our own experiences, because this is exactly what Carl Jung talks about, is that through the outer and inner world there are so many differentiations within our collective consciousness that I would recommend to read some Jung. It's pretty incredible, but this guy articulates it very well. His cadence is incredible, and the sonic musicality that changes during each part of the personal consciousness is pretty profound. I think that now I know why BTS is crazy and incredible, because that was very, very well done. Very well done.
Bits.
How many does it have?
It's bits.
It's boo. It's boo.
Okay.